Womansplaining with Tabby.
Are you going to be nicer to the president?
Well, you know, the president is from Queens, and with all due respect, half of my district is from Queens. I don't think he knows how to deal with a girl from the Bronx.
Tabby proves that Cortez lies. Is Cortez a poor working-class girl from a poor working-class upbringing, living in the Bronx in this building while taking the bus to a school in Yorktown Heights, or did she live in this house in Yorktown Heights? In what CNBC reported is 8th in their 10 counties where the richest people in America are concentrated article from 2017. Folks, there's a webpage version of this video, in fact you're seeing it right now, and it contains all the news articles, the tweets, and so on, all the factual information covered in this video with links back to the original sources. See the link below for that. See, unlike the mainstream media and almost everyone, we actually prove what we say.
So today we're going to talk about Ocasio the Wingnut Cortez, who claims she's from the Bronx, but unfortunately she's from Westchester, I believe it is.
Yes, that is correct, Tabby. Westchester, one of the 10 counties where the richest people in America are concentrated.
So, miss, I'm poor and I'm from the Bronx, and I had to do busing of beer and all kinds of stuff. Aww. Excuse me? You're from Westchester. Number 8. Some of the richest people in the country live there. Okay? Even the poorest people in your area are richer than most of the people in America. But yet, oh, my mommy, she cleaned toilets. Oh, your mother cleaned toilets. My God. Really? Because I seriously doubt somebody who scrubs toilets for a living can afford that area. Not, let alone living in that area. They also could not afford a 2-bedroom house, possibly 3. Okay, because there's some speculation as to the size of your mother's house.
Indeed, in these tweets, Cortez confirms that this was the house in which she lived, in Yorktown Heights, Westchester County, New York. The Daily Mail reports, quote, the home, a single story with a finished basement, most recently sold for $355,000 in 2016. The median annual income in the area is $116,741 compared to the median annual income of $48,315 in Parkchester's zip code. That's the Bronx zip code, according to the latest census data. Quote, it was clear to her, even then, that the zip code a child was born in determined much of their destiny, unquote, Ocasio-Cortez's official bio reads. And let's look at that official bio, where it says, quote, Alexandria was born in the Bronx to 2 working-class parents. Her father was a small business owner from the South Bronx. Her mother was born in Puerto Rico, growing up around a large family near Arequibo, if I'm saying that correctly, or Arequibo, or whatever. Her mother cleaned homes, and everyone pitched in on the family business. From an early age, Alexandria grew up with a deep understanding of income inequality. The state of the Bronx public schools in the late 80s and early 90s sent her parents on a search for a solution. She ended up attending public school in Yorktown, 40 minutes north of her birthplace. As a result, much of her early life was spent in transit between her tight-knit extended family in the Bronx and her daily student life. It was clear to her even then that the zip code a child was born in determined much of their destiny. The 40-minute drive represented a vastly different quality of available schooling, economic opportunity, and health outcomes. In this bio, she's claiming that she grew up in a poor zip code and saying that zip codes determine a child's destiny. But she didn't. At least not from the age of 5 on. She grew up in a rich zip code, a very rich zip code. So she says she's from a poor zip code, but she says that the zip code a child is born in determines their destiny, but somehow, being from a poor zip code, she's now the boss, as she put it.
Now, as for your father being a small business owner, he is CEO of your father is the CEO of an architectural firm. In other words, big bucks. Alright? So, what, did your mom scrub toilets for a couple of dollars so that she could, I don't know, get something stupid because he wouldn't buy it? Or are you just completely full of shit, Cortez? Every time you open your mouth, drivel. You should be followed around with a bucket to catch the crap that falls from your lips. This is how retarded you sound on a daily basis. Right? There are numerous videos of you being a complete and utter moron. Like when you claimed you were Jewish.
One of the things that we discovered about ourselves is that a very long time ago, generations and generations ago, my family consisted of Sephardic Jews. And it is
Yet both of your names, your surnames, the ones that you are so obsessed with them being ethnically said correctly, Ocasio is Irish and Cortez is Spaniard. Alright? Both are Catholic, by the way. Highly Catholic. But yet you're supposed to be Jewish now? I'm at a bit of a loss as to how both your surnames are Catholic from the moment they were created, practically. In Spain, it was the Christian... what was it? It was a... Oh, I had it in notes. It was basically... The name Cortez was first seen in a Christian holy land in Spain. It was your mother. Your mother's name Cortez was literally created in the Christian kingdom in Spain. It has a very Lord of the Rings sounding name. It's Aragon. The Spanish Christian kingdom of Aragon. Not to be confused with the Lord of the Rings. That may be where she gets her fantastical side. I don't know. And Ocasio is literally from Ireland. It was pagan Ireland at the time, but then, seeing as how your family ended up in Puerto Rico, as you say, I'm going to say it wasn't the ones that continued to be pagan and thus left Ireland for the Americas, but instead are the ones that sided with England, then moved down to Spain as Catholics. So both your names are Catholic, you wingnut. Alright? You are Catholic. You even admitted later on, I think either that was it that day or later on that week, that you are Catholic. Alright? I've looked. I searched it. I went through the name rolls. Your family has been Catholic since the dawn of names. Alright? No, you Jewish are not. And you know what? I think anyone in your vicinity that sees you walk down the street, which you usually don't, miss, oh, I love the environment, we should all stop emissions, drives around in a Range Rover. You are scum, Cortez. Absolute scum. You are a rich, you're an upper middle class, pampered, moronic, golem-faced piece of crap. That is what you are. That's what we all see you as. Every time you open your fucking mouth, every time you just show your face in public. It's really amazing. Every time you show your face in public, you're doing this. It's like, seriously, I want to superimpose you in that Jack Nicholson scene from The Shining. It's your fucking face coming through the door. Numerous media sources, no one can really figure you out. Because you say one thing, they say another, then another one says another thing that kind of goes to your side, and then another one goes, nah, that's wrong. It's like, the absolute truth is you are and were pampered in Westchester. Wow. You're totally hood, sweetheart. Oh yeah, you're down there in the trenches. Go fuck yourself with your privileged ass. You haven't been poor for a second of your life that you can remember. You're lying. Right? Your mailman says her mail piles up for months at a time before it all just gets taken out. That's the mailbox in the building of the condo you supposedly live in.
Indeed, in their article, Where in the World Does Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez Live? On February 23, 2019, the New York Post reported, a postal worker who delivers mail to the building said that in the last 10 years he has only seen Ocasio-Cortez intermittently, and that several months' worth of mail regularly accumulates in the mailbox before anyone bothers to collect it. The worker said that Ocasio-Cortez and Roberts were the only ones getting mail at the address. Quote, just because their names are on the box doesn't mean they live there, unquote, he said. And in 2017, when Ocasio-Cortez first filed paperwork to become a congressional candidate, she didn't even know what district she lived in. Mistakenly declaring plans to run for neighboring District 15 before correcting the error days later. Really suspicious, isn't it? Well, going back to June 27th, 2018, the day that she won her primary, the New York Times reported that she was living in the Bronx, the same Parkchester apartments that she apparently grew up in through her school years, or so she claimed. As we saw, but when she was 5, she moved from those apartments in the Bronx to that house in Yorktown Heights, Westchester. The New York Times also reports that when she was about 5, they moved an hour north to a modest 2-bedroom house on a quiet street in Yorktown Heights, a suburb in Westchester County. Really weird, isn't it? Now, why would she move back into those apartment buildings as an adult after, she claims, earning degrees in economics and international relations, even though she has displayed a distinct lack of even the most rudimentary knowledge in both of these areas? Why would she do that? Perhaps the answer to that question is the same as the answer to this question. Why would she claim that she lived in those apartments all through her school years while taking the bus each day from the Bronx into Westchester? Could it be that knowing that it can be easily proven that she went to school in Westchester, but wanting people to think she's just a poor girl from a poor family and grew up in the Bronx, she got herself an address in that apartment building as an adult and concocted a story of living there this whole time while taking the bus each school day to Westchester. On June 28, 2018, the very next day after the New York Times reported that she grew up in this house in Westchester, she claimed to be a girl from the Bronx on Stephen Colbert's show.
I don't think he knows how to deal with a girl from the Bronx.
We all know that you've actually moved to a much larger building with wonderful gold faucets and other lovely things that no middle-income person can actually get into, even though it's illegal, but let's not fucking discuss that, shall we?
Indeed, the New York Post claims her new digs feature gold-plated amenities like a rooftop infinity pool, a cycling studio with a dozen pricey Pelotons, men's and women's saunas, and a golf simulation lounge, remember that one for later, but no affordable units for low-income residents in spite of a local law that requires them. According to the Washington Examiner, Cortez recently moved into a luxury apartment complex in Washington, D.C. that does not offer the affordable housing units that were a key plank in the New York Congresswoman's campaign platform. Ocasio-Cortez, 29, who said in November that she was concerned about being able to afford rent in D.C., now earns a $174,000 annual salary and is living in a newly built high-rise in the city's Navy Yard area, the Washington Free Beacon reported last week. The freshman congresswoman, a self-described socialist, campaigned on a platform to expand affordable housing, and her controversial Green New Deal proposal promises, quote, safe, affordable, adequate housing, unquote, for all. But Ocasio-Cortez's new building is part of a luxury complex whose owners specifically do not offer affordable units under Washington, D.C.'s Affordable Dwelling Units program. In 2018, a civil rights attorney sued the Washington, D.C. government for allegedly discriminatory gentrification policies, claiming that development in Navy Yard area and other parts of Southeast D.C. encouraged an influx of affluent, quote, millennial creatives, unquote, Starbucks socialists who displaced minority residents. Ocasio-Cortez, commonly referred to as AOC, repeatedly criticized luxury real estate developers during her campaign, claiming that their building hiked up rent prices and pushed low-income residents out of their neighborhoods. This is very interesting and perhaps, well, actually is hypocritical, because if you try to find proof of Trump being a racist, one of the most common arguments that the media uses is that Trump is racist because, they claim, he said the federal government was trying to get him to rent to welfare recipients, which sources like Vox and the New York Times says means that he doesn't want to rent to black people, because in their racist view, all black people are welfare recipients and all welfare recipients are black. But here we have AOC living in a luxury apartment where they won't rent to people who have low income. The Washington Examiner claims her new apartment complex, which boasts on its website that it vows to take, quote, luxury apartment living, unquote, to a higher level, offers 100,000 square feet of amenities for residents with state-of-the-art hydrotherapy beds, a full-scale demonstration kitchen with wood-fired pizza oven, a 25-meter indoor lap pool, a rooftop infinity pool with panoramic views of the Capitol, and a fireside lounge featuring a Steinway & Sons player piano. Also included is a PGA-grade golf simulation lounge with a wraparound screen and viewing bar that allows residents to play virtually at dozens of the world's most exclusive golf courses with the touch of a button. Last week, Democrats mocked President Trump for installing a new golf simulator at the White House, updating with his own money, one originally installed by former President Barack Obama. Oh, the hypocrisy has so many layers here, folks. Apartments in the building currently start at $1,840 per month for a 440 square foot studio and range up to $5,200 for a 3-bedroom. The average rent in Washington, D.C. is $1,340 for a 1-bedroom apartment and $1,550 for a 2-bedroom, according to the most recent data from Apartment List. And yet, this Starbucks socialist wants, well, socialism, a system in which there is no private property, like luxury apartments, for example, for the economic elite, and indeed, in socialism there is to be no economic elite, but rather collectivization, sharing of everything equally among everyone, with the government ultimately owning and controlling everything, including the means of production. According to the New York Post, the space slated for Ocasio-Cortez's constituent office is in the new building in Jackson Heights. A lot of heights in her life, okay? Yorktown Heights, Jackson Heights. If you don't know, Jackson Heights is in her 14th district. It's on Long Island. It's in Queens. You can see on the map here. Suites in the building at 7409 37th Avenue rent for about $40 per square foot. Ocasio-Cortez's office on the 3rd floor is just under 5,000 square feet, which would bring the annual undiscounted rental price to $200,000 or nearly $17,000 a month. In January, Ocasio-Cortez sought to blame the delay on a stubborn landlord at a different building, where her predecessor Crowley maintained one of his 2 district offices. Quote, although we attempted to take over our predecessor's lease, the landlord wanted to almost double the rent, unquote, from $7,800 to $15,000 per month. She tweeted on January 22nd, without specifying which of Crowley's spaces she had hoped to inherit. Quote, that spike would have meant less caseworkers for our community, unquote, she posted. Quote, instead, we're making a new space with a family business, unquote. But Ocasio-Cortez neglected to mention that her rent would end up likely topping the cost of Crowley's former digs. I don't know if it's Crowley or Crowley, sorry folks. When the Post visited last week, the Congresswoman's office was still under construction. You can see a photo of the door there. It's unknown if taxpayers or the landlord is paying for the extensive renovations. I'm gonna guess taxpayers. In the absence of a district office, and with no way to contact the rookie congresswoman, voters have resorted to desperate measures. Quote, constituents come here and leave notes on the door, unquote, said the postal worker at her Rochester apartment building last weekend. Quote, but it's a waste of time, unquote. Interesting. Money here, money there, renovations there, luxury here, gold plating there, and yet she's a socialist. How about maybe she's just an actress?
Oh yes, I think everybody should earn the same and have the same opportunities, just not in my building. Yeah, go fuck yourself, Cortez. You have not been poor 1 second of your life. You're pathetic. And to all of your vapidly wasted, idiot, lemming followers, you're all dumber than she is. Because it takes 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes, to discover all of these facts about her. 5 fucking minutes. Hell, it took me 2 seconds to figure out about her fucking bullshit Jewish past. Yeah. And now she's down there in the South pretending that she has a Southern drawl.
Thank you, everybody. I'm proud to be a bartender. Ain't nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with working retail, folding clothes for other people to buy. There is nothing wrong with preparing the food that your neighbors will eat. There is nothing wrong with driving the buses that take your family to work. There is nothing wrong with being a working person in the United States of America, and there is everything dignified about it. I, in fact, am encouraged when people remind the country of my past, not because of anything about my story, but because it communicates that if I could work in a restaurant and become a member of the United States Congress, so can you.
Well, hold on a second. Didn't she say that the zip code a person was born in determines much about their life or their life in general? Methinks that thou is duplicitous, because you speak out of both sides of your mouth. By the way, folks, notice that she is introduced by Al Sharpton, a scumbag of a man who launched his career on a false flag, incriminating innocent people, and then he double, triple, quadrupled, and pentupled down on that, and now he has a job at Fox News. For some reason, he really shouldn't be employed there, nor should the person who suspended Judge Denis Piero, a Islamist in disguise, playing Takia there. But I digress. Notice also that behind her it says, "No justice, no peace," which to me means we're going to riot and hurt innocent people and destroy private property of people that did nothing wrong because we're mad about some injustice, rather than going about it the right way with principles and ethics. Anyway, back to Tabby.
You know, how long before we see her put a piece of wheat between her teeth and pretend like she's a real farmer? You know? Everywhere she goes, she changes. Because she wants to pander to you. Because she thinks you're stupid enough to fall for it. And if you are stupid enough to fall for that shit, please do us all a goddamn favor. Either jump off a cliff or go get yourself neutered. Because either way, we don't need your DNA in this world. You're dumb enough to follow and fall for her shit. You are not necessary. That makes me a bitch. I'm fine. I'm a bitch. I readily admit I am a uber bitch.
Alright folks, this is the end of part 1. To make sure you see part 2, make sure you are subscribed and make sure that you have the little bell icon clicked so that you get notifications. And I would double check if I were you, because YouTube has been de-notifying people when it comes to channels like ours and doing other shady soft banning stuff. But even better than dealing with YouTube's bullshit, their sneaky censorship and stuff, subscribe to us on BitChute. It's like YouTube without the bullshit. See the link below.